Guys, I won't lie to you. Going from a band 5 to a band 7 was a tough job. It was a tough thing for me to do. It was one of the most hardest things I've had to do in my life, in my career, even as a nurse. But it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made for my career. I get asked this all the time. People are like, Josephine, how did you go from being a band 5 to a band 7? So I'm going to go through the process. I'm going to tell you all about how I went from a band 5 to a band 7 in a space of 6 months. 6 months from a band 5 to a band 7. In 2018, I was working on a surgical ward in a private hospital. I was working as the night nurse on a full-time basis. And then one day, an email came from the director of clinical services. And in that email, they said the IPC lead nurse who was meant to work for the hospital had pulled out last minute. So that's the infection prevention and control nurse who was meant to work in the hospital had pulled out. So the director of clinical services sent the email and was asking people if anybody in the hospital was interested in this position, or if anybody in the hospital knew anyone outside of the hospital who may be interested in this position. Now, prior to me working in that hospital, I was working in another private hospital, and in that hospital, I was the infection prevention and control link nurse. All right, so I was a link on the ward where I helped with infection prevention and control audits, as well as some sort of trainings, hand hygiene and stuff like that. So when this email came through, I thought, oh, that this is what I've been looking for all these years. I've been looking to specialize, but I just didn't actually know what area I wanted to specialize in. And I knew that I had interest and I had a bit of passion for infection prevention and control. So what I did was I sent the director of clinical services an email, and I expressed interest in the role. Obviously, I was working in the hospital already, so she knew who I was and she knew my background. So I arranged an informal meeting with the director of clinical services. The day came, I met her, we had a chat. She told me what the job would entail, and then obviously I told her she told me everything that I need to do for that role if I was still interested. And I said to her, yeah, why not? I'm passionate about infection prevention and control. I've been a link nurse, on the ward before. So although I've not got all the required experience and qualifications, I still have that passion. So I would like to go for it. So from that meeting, we arranged for a formal interview where I attended, and I was interviewed by the director of clinical services, and I think she was the other person was the governance director or somebody quite high up in the hospital. So I had that interview, and I think within a day or two, I got that phone call and that email to confirm that I have been selected to be the IPC lead for that private hospital. Now, guys, remember this. I had no prior experience as an infection prevention and control nurse. All I had was that I was the IPC link nurse on a ward in a previous hospital. But when I went for that interview, I let my passion shine through. I let them know that I was willing to learn. I let them know that this is something that I want to do, I am willing to do, and I was up for the challenge. So I got the job and I was working. So we had 140 staff members in that trust. They had 20 inpatient wards. They had 10 day surgery wards, as well as outpatient departments and theater. So this was it was not a tiny hospital. It was a medium-sized hospital. But I'm just trying to let you know how difficult and how hard the challenge that I was taking on was. So I took on the job, and in the beginning it was quite tough. I did not anticipate there was a lot of resistance from some managers in the hospital. Let me put it that way. There was a lot of resistance. I mean, one person made me cry. She was so horrible to me. I just broke down. But I learned from that experience. I became tougher. I grew tough skin. The challenges, I think the 3 challenges that I experienced with this role, from going from a band 5 to a band 7, was that I did not have that leadership experience. I didn't have much leadership experience, let's put it that way. So on the wards, I've been the shift leader and all that, but when you're actually in charge of a service for a whole hospital, guys, it's not easy. It is not child's play at all. So that was one of the challenges that I faced. There was a lot of resistance from some of the managers. I mean, they did not like me much for whatever reason. I did not know. I had to suddenly go from somebody who was taking orders from managers to somebody who was giving orders to other staff members, and going from a band 5 to band 7. When I was working with my colleagues, my band 5 colleagues on the ward, I went from that one day to going to a position where I was actually telling them what to do, telling them what I expect them to do or what I expect of them. It was not easy, trust me, guys. It was not easy. And I think that was one of the things that I found quite, apart from the resistance from some managers, having to actually dictate or ask, kind of lead my own colleagues was quite tough. But they were brilliant. My colleagues did not make life difficult for me at all. In fact, they really made the job as easy as they could. And I think it's because I already had that relationship with them. I had built that rapport with them. So with my colleagues, as well as the heads of department and the other managers, I had built this relationship with them. So it was a bit seamless, me going from being their colleague to being their manager in some respect. And to overcome those challenges in the first few months, in the first 6 months, I would say, to overcome those challenges, I had to work hard. I had to devise strategies. And again, because I had those relationships with my colleagues and the heads of departments, I just kind of, carried on with that lovely, relationships, the building that, maintaining those great relationships and actually respecting them. I didn't suddenly go from, I'm now in this position, so I'm going to be horrible to you, which I know some people do. I was not like that. I was up there, but I was down here with them. I was always on their level, trying to be as helpful as I can, trying to make their lives less difficult, because being a nurse is difficult. The least thing that you expect is for somebody who is a manager to come to you and be rude to you or disrespectful to you. No, I did not do any of that at all. I was respectful. I maintained those relationships. I was able to build relationships with those at the top. So the director of clinical services, as well as surgeons, consultant microbiologists, pharmacists, other people, GPs. It was one of those positions where you had to talk to anybody and everybody who is involved in the patient's journey or in the patient's care. So I had to build that communication. My communication skills really came in handy during this job. I had to be, I was very good. I had to be very good at communicating my needs or communicating what I wanted to all these other inter-agencies, multidisciplinary team members as well. And then it came to a point where, I was doing the job seamlessly. It was like a second nature to me. And that was because I was not afraid to ask questions. I was not afraid to look silly or to look stupid, as some would put it. Anything I was not knowledgeable about, anything that I did not understand, I was not scared to ask. Guys, don't forget this. No questions are silly. Nurses are supposed to be asking questions. It doesn't matter how high up there you are supposed to be asking those questions to clarify on things that you're not so sure about. It is best for you to ask questions and look silly and get the answers you're looking for than to not ask questions, do the wrong thing, and get in trouble. You look even more sillier if you do that. Applying for that job when I was a band 5, applying for that band 7 job and actually securing the job and executing the job perfectly. This is what this is the feedback that I got when I was doing the job from the microbiologist, as well as the director of clinical services, as well as other heads of department. They were quite impressed because somebody who had no prior experience, I think people were expecting me to not do so well, but I did do well and I got a lot of recommendations. So that's something that I can applaud myself for. I did so well in that job. Because I applied for that job, even though I did not meet all the criteria they were looking for 100%, that job has actually opened doors for me, and it's actually helped me to secure the job that I'm doing at the moment. So at present, I am an infection prevention and control nurse band 7 with the clinical commissioning group. So that's a CCG. Now this job, I was not even aware that there was such a job for nurses in that space. Okay, so the job that I applied for, when I knew that I did not meet all the criteria, it's actually helped me secure this job that I'm doing as a specialist nurse with the clinical commissioning group. Now the CCG is an NHS trust, and what we do is that we commission healthcare services. So I am in a managerial supportive kind of role, and at the moment I am working from home. Yes, I am a nurse and I am working from home. I work Monday to Friday and I work 9 to 5. I mean, what is better than this kind of job? So guys, why am I telling you this? I am telling you this story of my experience because, and I know some people that are trying to move jobs, they are trying to specialize, and they've come across jobs that they feel they could do the job, but they feel because they don't tick every single box that they are not qualified for those jobs. I am here to tell you that you are more than qualified as a nurse. You are more than qualified for most jobs, most senior positions, most specialist nurse jobs. All you need is to have the passion. So the job that you're applying for, you have to make sure you have the passion for the job. You have transferable skills that you can use from your job, your old job, into the new job. You can apply those transferable skills in the new job. And the third one is that you are willing to learn. All right, because it's not enough for you to secure a senior job. It's not enough for you to secure a specialist job if you are not someone who is hungry for knowledge, someone who wants to learn. If you are not someone who likes to learn or likes to seek out knowledge or likes to learn new things, then going for these managerial leadership roles or specialist roles, I'm afraid is not for you. Okay, but just make sure that when you're applying for the jobs, you are not looking out to tick every single box. You're not, they put the job description there, they put all the eligibility criteria, they put the essential skills or the essential qualification that they're looking for. Most jobs will list down the essential qualification, or experience. They'll list also the desired qualification and desired experience. Now what you should be looking at is the desired experience and qualification, because that one is not like a must-have criteria. If they've not listed an essential criteria, then that's quite good. That means it's you have a chance to apply for that job, be shortlisted, be interviewed, and who knows, you have a chance to apply to secure that job. So the moral of my story and my experience is that you don't have to tick every single box when you are applying for a job before you apply for the job. All right, apply anyway. If you are called, if you're shortlisted and you are called for interview, fair enough. If you're not called for interview, or if you're called for interview and you don't qualify, that's also fair enough, because that's an experience that you have under your belt. You can therefore go back to the interviewers and ask them, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? So that they can, I mean, most interviewers are happy to give you that feedback. So it's a win-win situation, really. You don't actually lose, out much. So apply for that job, apply for that position, go for that specialist role that you want. Nobody can tell you what you can and you can't do. Go for that job. I wish you all the best in your job search, guys. If you need any tips and tricks on how to secure specialist jobs or how to get the jobs of your dreams, don't forget to comment down below. You can also send me an email, or you can send me you can contact me via my WhatsApp or by my mobile number. I'm always available. Come to me, ask me the questions that you have, and I'll do my possible best to help you guys. Now, don't forget to subscribe. Click that subscribe button, click on the notification bell, so that when I do bring out new videos, you'll be notified and you'll be able to watch and you'll be able to absorb all the good things that I've got to say, all the lovely things I've got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I will see you next week. Take care and have a blessed week. Bye.